That's gonna cover his bald head. Might see it shine in the camera.
Glare.
It's not a glare. Camera can't handle it.
All right.
It's been a minute.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
It has been
Austin,
a minute.
welcome back.
Welcome back,
Thank you.
Austin. CJ. Austin. CJ, we have a guest,
Yeah, it's
co-host. How do you go, co-host or triple host? How's that work?
your co-hosts Matt and CJ and Austin joining.
Co-host Matt and CJ and Austin joining.
Yeah, Austin
Yeah, sure.
joining. He doesn't have a co-host title.
He's not.
I don't have a plaque yet.
He doesn't have a plaque yet. Yeah. If you
You're
pay
gonna
my
get old
dad,
Ralphie support.
if you pay my dad really well, I'll probably make you one. That payment is, hey Ralphie, will you make one of these?
Can you make me a sign?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, let me do that.
Well, I might not get it to you
How do you
today,
spell
but I
your
can
name?
get it tomorrow.
Text your name to me. Young man, text your name to me. I'll take care of it. Well, welcome back.
Cool. So, Austin had a great idea for something to talk about today.
Yep.
We've been kind of dry on this podcast, so we're about to get back at
I
it.
was forced into coming up with an idea.
About to get...
Austin wanted to be a part of the podcast, so we made him come up with an idea.
Yeah.
I think it's a great
And
idea.
that was that.
But I think this topic can branch off into a few more.
It did. I think the most important thing right now is I just noticed Dave Castro started a live podcast, or
That and that
a
phone.
live video.
I tell you what,
Marco Polo,
they
Instagram.
blame millennials, and Matt's over here blowing up my phone.
I put
I'm
my phone on the
connected.
floor so I don't look at it.
I'm connected.
My phone could be in my pocket, and I'd lose it.
CJ, where's your phone? In my hand.
I don't know.
The
They're
whole
looking
time.
everywhere. CJ, check your right pocket
Yeah.
where it always is.
CJ, check your hand.
No, it's right there.
Oh, there's my keys.
That's yeah.
I've done that.
I'm not proud of the man I am.
So what do we have today?
Also, what was
Austin.
your brilliant idea?
Today, we'll be talking about and assessing the 10 components of fitness,
Yeah.
which if you just walk in these four walls, you might not have ever heard of these before.
Mm-hmm.
All our coaches are L1s. They've heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
Probably haven't gone into detail, but if you just come, you're that 430er, you've probably
Yeah.
never heard of all 10 of these components of fitness, like how CrossFit defines fitness.
Exactly. It's this is perfect because I just retook my L2. Right, I've been taking that online. Did a live Zoom, whatever day it was, yesterday. So these are fresh because we had to go through all of this multiple times. The cool thing about it is they started our seminar, one with that, when I took the L2 in person, and this one with defining CrossFit. If you guys remember what defining CrossFit was, the 10 elements of fitness then help us define that verbiage that says CrossFit is constantly varied, right?
Mm-hmm.
Functional movement done at high intensity, right? So how do we define that when they say, well, what is CrossFit? Well, it's defined as constantly varied functional movement performed at high intensity.
Right. And
Great.
I think
I have no idea what that means, right? And then
in layman's terms, please.
the 10 components of fitness then break that down.
right.
And that's what we want to cover, I think.
Yeah. So the reason I think this particular topic was so good, is that it explains why exactly we do CrossFit, and then what and how our athletes in here are benefiting from each and every day without them maybe not even knowing what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be great to explain, like, hey, we don't just have a great community. We don't just come here every day and just have fun. Like, there's a reason for this, and it can be broken down
Yeah. So,
into a
what
scientific
is
standpoint.
fitness?
What is fitness?
Fitness is work capacity across broad time and modal domains. Again,
So
we can break that down into normal English
Yeah.
if you haven't heard those words put together before. So work
Exactly.
capacity, that's just your ability to move yourself, other things, your ability to do work, to put in effort and do something. Across broad time, so whether that's you're doing Fran for 2 minutes, you're doing Murph for an hour, or you're going on like a 3-day trail hike. Across That's that broad time. Then modal domains is the trickier one. If you haven't heard that before, that's your ability to do those different things.
Yeah.
So you could go out and carry a sandbag for 100 meters if you need to. You can run a mile. You can run a 5K, which I think you guys have talked about it before on a podcast, but that's where that general physical preparedness comes into play,
Yep.
which is what, if you're here for that 1 hour a day, you're generally physically prepared for about any task that you could encounter outside of these walls.
Exactly. Most people that are sedentary, their tasks, literally tasks, their tasks are, I've got to figure out how many times I can get up off the couch minimally to go to the refrigerator, unfortunately, to grab something and go back down. And for some people that are overweight, obesely overweight, that is a workout in just in itself. So their GPP, general physical preparedness, is lacking greatly.
Yeah.
Right. So when you say you're trying to increase our ability across modal domains, is maybe I've got to go pick up the groceries, and that means I literally have to pick up a case of water or a gallon of milk and have the strength to put that away.
Yeah.
And that time that it takes, that could be, some of us, for us, it would be, oh yeah, just a couple of minutes. For some, that's literally could be 30 minutes worth of work because they're just not physically able to do that.
Yeah.
Right. So we're trying to allow you to do what we would normally do in a couple of minutes. You know, it may take you 30 minutes. We're going to break that down.
Yeah.
Right. So what we're going to talk about here, I guess, like Austin said, is the 10 components of fitness, and then kind of how all those feed into each other and why you need them all. So, Austin, you want to get into, or just talk about what the 10 are? Just name the 10.
So we'll go through all these, but we'll list them off first. We have cardiovascular, stamina, strength, flexibility, power, speed, agility, coordination, balance, and accuracy. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through, break down each one. We'll talk about the definition of it. And then a good thing that I think we're going to do is we'll give like an example of how to test for each of the components. Try our best to isolate it. Some of them it's a little bit more difficult, but should be really good.
And maybe related to what our athletes that come in here every day do without even realizing it. So I guess a quick example I kind of just want to bring up is that you might be able to lift, like you might have like the world record deadlift, but if you can't bend over and tie your shoes, you're missing out on like a whole component of that fitness, right? So you're losing out on a lot of functionality. You're only as strong as your productive application of force.
Yep.
So we can break that down and get into it. But
All right. First up, cardiovascular. Cardiovascular, it's about what you think. It's your cardio aspect that you'll get in CrossFit or running. It's your respiratory endurance. It's your body's ability to use O2, oxygen, as your primary fuel source, not breaking into any of those carbs, that lipid use. But damn, didn't mean to say that. But you guys have anything to say cardio-wise?
One of the best ways to measure this that we can't do in here is going to be a VO2 max test. What that is testing how well you utilize oxygen during exercise. We obviously can't do that in here, but you guys want to go around and just say, like, one way that we actually do train this. And then maybe we can say, like, what you might need this for, or, like, who would need it. Austin?
I'll go first. So, cardiovascular-wise, obviously, like he said, VO2 max is the way to go because it's relative. It adds in, like, your body weight into how much oxygen you're using, which is perfect. But cardio in here, that's when we're doing, like, when you hop on any piece of our equipment, that rower, bike, skier, the thing everybody loves to get on.
Yeah, that's right.
We might dread it, but that's what's building our cardiovascular system the most. Running, that's what we use. That's when it comes most into play in the gym, is like that monostructural type stuff.
Exactly. I think if you take that and you look at simple, just a body weight movement, running, stepping out the door, going for, some people it's walking.
Right, it doesn't have to be
right. So it depends on your intensity level. You know, is dependent on where you're at from a fitness perspective. So your cardiovascular work literally maybe getting out of the truck and walking in and resting a minute, and then walking through a warm-up and then resting a minute because you can't quite run. We have athletes in here like that today where just walking across the room, picking something up and walking back, that's cardio for them. That's getting their lungs, getting their respiratory rate higher, heart rate goes higher. That's their cardiovascular work for that day.
Right.
So anything like that.
And that, so that would be perfect for that individual. Obviously, for other individuals, it might be like running a marathon or something just really far. So the VO2 max test we were talking about before, basically what that is just a cardiovascular endurance test that requires you to exercise till exhaustion. So you're running on a treadmill, on a bike, you can swim or anything, but basically you just have your nose plugged and then you're just breathing through basically a hose. You got a face mask on, so they're collecting all your oxygen and then you're going to exhaustion. In here we can't really do that, obviously, but what we do every day, not every day obviously, but we do test that, like you're going to exhaustion, you're going till it hurts. That right there is testing your cardiovascular endurance. Basically for all this stuff, we're not specializing, right? So that way you're prepared for all aspects of life. So that's why all these 10 are so important.
Yeah. I did find a good test if you want to find a number. So if you want to retest your cardiovascular fitness, it's not super complicated. Words aren't too confusing, I wouldn't think. But if you came in here, hopped on that Echo bike, you go 20 minutes and it'll record your average watts at the end. So you get your average watt number, anywhere 200 to 300 is a good solid average score. You're finishing probably top 20% of your age group in the open. But then if you want to make it relative, because obviously I'm not going to do the same wattage that Ron or Nate are going to do on the bike. So what you do is you take that number, divide by your weight in kilograms. It'll give you a number. 3 to 3.5 is that good average solid number. Then obviously if you're above a 4, you're a freak of nature. 5, you're going to the games. 5.5, you could win the games. And if you're above a 6, you could go to Tour de France. 6.5, you're winning the Tour de France. I found that online.
Oh, no kidding. That's cool. Yeah.
So that's a good way if you want to test your cardiovascular fitness. 20-minute average watt.
No kidding.
Boom.
We did that almost
We did it
a week
2
ago.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, thanks, Browning.
But a big thing as well, with your cardiovascular endurance, all of your recovery, the majority of your recovery does come from the aerobic side of things. That's what this cardiovascular endurance is. So incorporating that, having a strong cardiovascular system is going to help you recover a lot more as well. I thought that was a pretty cool.
Yeah.
From our perspective here in CrossFit, you guys answer this question. When we work on our cardiovascular endurance, do we do that by longer domains, more of in an aerobic setting? Or what setting do we work on here specifically that helps increase that cardiovascular strength and stamina, longevity of that?
So cardiovascular is going to be all the longer
workouts.
Yeah.
What do we do a lot of long workouts here, or what do we really focus on here? We don't go for 5 mile runs often. Right. We don't go for 10 miles runs, but we still could do that, right?
Yeah, and we do incorporate it a lot in the workouts. But you're in a gym setting, you're going for the whole, getting everyone in.
We're getting all 10.
Right.
Yeah, you're getting all 10.
Points, not trying to specialize.
Right. So the specialization, people that specialize aren't fit. Does that make sense?
We'll get into that
after
all 10 of these.
Yeah.
We can break that down after.
Stuff after that.
All right. I didn't want to give anything away.
Yeah.
Of 10.
Exactly. And
2.
As we go into that, I wanted to talk about the anaerobic versus the aerobic and how your anaerobic capacity increases your aerobic capacity, which ties right into the cardiovascular workload here, right?
Yep. Number 2, whereas stamina. Stamina can easily be confused with cardiovascular if you don't read into it a little bit. But stamina is the ability of the body's system to process, deliver, store, and utilize energy. Again, we can break that down into layman's terms. Stamina is like your muscle endurance. How long can your muscles keep performing at a point where it's not like you're breathing heavy? That's when you're failing reps because your muscles are so tired, but you're not like breathing heavy from it. So that's the difference between stamina and cardiovascular.
So stamina, would that be broke down in something simple as, think about a weightlifting, old school weightlifting movement? If I were doing a barbell curl or a single dumbbell curl, and I do that single dumbbell curl and I'm on my 100th rep,
Yeah.
and the dumbbell's 10 pounds, and I start to lose the ability to pick my arm
Yeah.
up, right?
Yeah, so for stamina, the first thing I thought of right away, I went pure CrossFit. I thought of Karen, 150 wall balls for time. That one does get a little bit longer, so it could start to be cardiovascular, but that's normally like your legs are burning, your shoulders
Yep.
are on fire.
Right, you drop the ball not because you're
Mhm.
breathing heavy, but because your
because
arms aren't working.
Yeah.
You might
Or
not
legs.
make it up to that 10 or 9 foot target.
Yeah.
Then I thought of, again, another example, 100 push-ups for time,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just testing your upper body, so
Yep.
relative. Another good one, 400-meter sled push at half your body weight.
That would be
Your legs, your
Brutal.
midline.
depending on your current level of
Yeah.
physical activity.
That was
Yeah.
just one. But then a lot of people would think muscular endurance like moving. But I think one of the best stamina tests would be a plank hold
Mm-hmm.
on your elbows.
That is yes.
I think that's
what
I think that's a
thought.
full body stamina test. How
Yep.
long you can hold a plank.
Right. You're just sitting there, so you're
Relatively
not,
low
you're not
from
breathing
a,
heavy.
You're not breathing
exactly.
heavy.
Yeah.
But
You-
your muscles give down.
Yeah. Fatigue out.
So that's a great one for
Yeah.
your stamina.
Mm-hmm.
And you can scale that as well, so everyone can
Yeah.
do the plank. You know.
Then it's just based on time. So like a novice person in a plank, you're probably looking at like 45-ish seconds.
Mm-hmm.
You're elite, you're probably over like 5 minutes you could hold a plank. You're a Navy SEAL, they make you hold a plank for like 45 minutes. So
Well, some
Hanging out.
like 63-year-old did it for like 12 hours.
yeah, it's insane
That's
that
nuts.
some people can
It's
do
called
it.
an
The
outlier.
good thing with yeah, that's not fair.
Yeah.
The cool thing with the stamina is that's what a lot of your military will train for. So in the
Yeah.
the boot camps and the
Mm-hmm.
whatever, like working out to go to the I don't even know what that's
No,
called.
I don't
That's
know.
terrible.
Boot camp.
Is it the boot camp?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Boot camp. But that's your like the push-ups, the air squats, sit-ups, what they make you do just to like
Yeah.
get in the requirements that they have. That's all stamina. So that's what CrossFit was originally made for anyway, right? Was that population of
Mhm.
those your
Special
firefighters,
forces.
special forces. They all took that on early, and obviously they're going to need all 10 components of fitness. Because if you can be really strong, but if you can't run away from someone or chase someone,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not good.
You're useless.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's
Yep.
I mean,
You're going to get hurt.
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or you're going to hurt someone else.
So, touched on stamina. Is ready for the next one?
Yes, sir.
Number 3, we're at strength. Strength is the ability of a muscular unit or combination of your muscles, muscular units, to apply a force. So that could be, mainly you think of that as exerting a force against an external load.
Mhm.
That's what you normally think of that as. So obviously, when you think strength right away, you're probably thinking back squat.
Yep.
I like that as like a maximal lift. Like when they programmed that for the games, they
Mhm.
programmed front squat this year for the games. I think
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yep.
But if you're trying to isolate strength and not have any of the other components in there, I think when you do a back squat, flexibility can get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were doing a maximal lift, like trying to test for strength, keeping it consistent, because when you start coming in these walls, you're going to get more flexible right away,
Mm-hmm.
just from doing new
Moving,
movements
just
that you
moving.
haven't.
Yep.
So I think the best lift, this is in my opinion, would be a deadlift.
100% agree.
That it might just seem like a leg thing, but that is a full body exertion to get that barbell off of the ground.
And it does take a little bit of flexibility, but not
Mhm.
near as much to get
No.
into that position.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
A good way to think of strength, I think, is to think of your body weight to strength ratio. So it's if you have a really heavy male and then like a really tiny female, that's not going to be anywhere close, you know.
Yeah.
So if you have that weight to strength ratio, it's all relative, right?
Relative,
CrossFit's all
yeah.
relative.
Yep. Right.
Strength is as well.
I agree. 100%. I like that.
Their strength. Next, everybody's favorite type of thing to do, flexibility.
Ugh.
Exactly. Flexibility is that range of motion of a muscle around a joint. So how far can that
Mm-hmm.
segment of body move? Can it move through what we call full range of motion?
So is there a difference there between flexibility and mobility?
Yes.
Yes.
Mobility is when you're moving.
Yep.
Yes.
When you're moving that joint, flexibility is when, right, how far will that joint
Mm-hmm.
move?
Like if you're performing a snatch, you'll need to be very mobile.
Mhm,
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
But if you're
How-
doing yoga,
exactly.
well, some yoga
Yeah.
is super
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah.
I'll start sweating during some yoga.
I like to use that reference between flexibility and mobility. It's just your
Mhm.
finger, right? From a mobility perspective, how far can I power that finger in that backwards direction, right? But from a flexibility point, I can push that finger way through that range of motion that I could push it manually,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
The flexibility is also very crucial for reducing the risk of injury. So I think it's often overlooked, especially in like just the normal world. But when you come into a CrossFit gym or any gym really, or you start doing like athletic things, and then you notice like oh my gosh, I can't even do an air squat, right? Like, but then
Yeah.
so it's very overlooked, but I think it's very important.
So I had just like a quick note of if you wanted to test, like try to isolate flexibility. I think a good first test is if you can do a good overhead squat just with a PVC pipe in
Yeah.
hand. Because you,
I mean, that tests everything.
yeah, when there's not
Well,
much weight in
flexibility
there, you have to have good shoulder, ankle, knee, hip
Mhm.
flexibility.
Yeah, you can't have that weight just
No,
force
you
down.
can't. And then if you wanted to up it one, I think we had the perfect flexibility test in our comp with that one arm dumbbell overhead
Mhm.
squat.
Overhead squat.
Because you have to
Yeah.
have good flexibility in all parts. You can't really compensate
Mhm.
in any part.
And you can't hide that.
No, you can see who was flexible and you can see who wasn't. So I wanted to say just like a first thing, those four that we just covered, so I put that Venn diagram in our thing. Strength, stamina, endurance, and flexibility, those can all be improved by training. And by training, that means like, that's when you're hitting the gym, like these are things that you're working towards.
Mhm.
Like in a workout or in
Yes. Like,
In a warm up, in a workout, in a cool down.
yeah,
You're-
those
you're
are
really
things that you'll
working through that.
physically see your body change.
That's right.
In
and it'll
those
be with
four
the whole
points.
class with
Yeah.
On the, we should explain the other side of that then, I think, just so they have an idea of what we're comparing it
Yeah.
to. But the other side of that would be practice. So, training versus practice. Training, you're in the gym, you're doing it.
Mhm.
Practice, it's that non-sexy stuff, right? You're just,
Yeah.
I don't know, you're tying your feet around a rope, like
Yeah.
just sitting on a box, tying your feet
Mhm.
around a rope, trying to get all these next things that we're going to talk about, I guess, but
Yeah.
just your coordination, agility,
Yeah.
balance, and accuracy.
We'll touch back on it.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good spot right there.
Yep.
All right, next we have power. So power also could get confused with strength sometimes if you're not thinking about it right away, but it's that force production but divided by time. So how fast can you exert a force
Mhm.
is what you think of when you think power.
Force times distance over time
Mm-hmm.
equals power.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think this is weird. I always get weird on this, but powerlifters, I don't think that should be called powerlifting.
I don't think it should be called power.
Because, well, I complete respect for what they do,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have that.
Yep. It doesn't.
It doesn't fit the equation, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing, so there's a couple of things if you look at that though. If you look at the way power is broken down, force times distance. So the force it takes for a power lifter, for example, our group in here, right? That force that it takes to pick a bar from the chest to a forward lockout, right? So that force, the distance is literally could be 6 inches or less for some athletes, right? And the time at which they do that. But true definition of power would be if I'm doing that really rapidly.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I'm
It's like your Olympic lifts, like
exactly
stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you could coordinate that almost into the force it takes to get a horsepower or a quarter of a horsepower, or that's what we're trying to get to. And they're probably not getting that because they don't have the time.
Right. They're not measuring.
Yeah.
They're not measuring
It
the
doesn't matter.
time.
You could take 10 minutes to get that up,
That's right.
or you could take
That's right.
a second.
Yep.
And it counts.
Yep. So it's more they're pure strength athletes versus necessarily power athletes. Power, you got to throw that interjection of time. Strong, you're moving X amount, but how quickly can you move it X amount?
Yeah.
Go back to your sled push example, like half body weight on a sled pushing at 400. For some of us, may be really halfway decent. Now interject time into that. Now do that as quickly as you can, that changes the game
Right.
altogether, right?
Smack a wall.
Yeah. But power, obviously, right away. If you want to test that, you're going to think power clean. I think that makes sense.
Mhm.
But that's also testing a lot of these other components tied in.
Sure.
You're testing your coordination, balance, accuracy to hit that bar where it needs to be.
Yep.
But power cleans, it's a good test of power, but I think if you want to test power just by itself, it's a max vertical jump.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that max vertical jump is standing there. Put your hand up as high as you can reach. You measure your max reach. Feet stay static, flat on the ground. You go down as far as you want. Use your arms as momentum jump. Reach up to said target.
Yep.
And then measure the distance between those 2 points, and that would be your max vertical jump.
Yep. So I think that's a really good one. That's what I would pick as well to be the best one. But another one you could think of is like a 100-meter sprint or something. Right?
Yes.
I'd put that in the next one.
Yeah.
You
But
think?
I think
Yeah,
in
I don't know
power,
because it's fast,
yeah,
right? And you're
They-
trying to go in as
yeah, they can
little.
be tied together
Yeah.
for sure.
I think if you look at another, maybe a test of power, and you guys, I'd be interested, I think we all three should do this, and maybe tomorrow, this weekend, is something as simple as a time domain air squat. So you have your body weight, you have the distance your body's moving through that air squat, right? And you have a time. How many air squats can you do in a minute? And you factor that out, and you're going to come to literally you can produce a horsepower rating on how much you're moving your body through an air squat in a set amount of time. So let's say you're really fast and can get 60 air squats done in a minute. Okay, it's 1 a second. Take that times your right. So the distance you're traveling. Take that time, the weight you're moving because you're moving your body. Divide that by time, and I bet you come up with a really nice number that's relative to how much horsepower you literally could put out.
Right. That would be really big.
That is cool.
Flexibility too,
Mm-hmm.
but we shouldn't do that for sure.
I think we should do it.
That
I think we
sounds
should do
like
it.
something that we should watch D do.
We should do it, and we should see how well we do against Boz because he's done that, and that's one of the equations for power that he used. He goes, I
Yeah.
tried this, and this is where I'm at, and I'm producing about a quarter to a half horsepower
Wow.
in that 60 seconds. It's interesting.
Yeah. But that max vertical jump, just some numbers real quick. A good solid jump for your max, so that difference between those two. 20 is a good number. 25 is you're reaching those upper limits of those high average people. 30 is like a good power athlete, so most NBA players are well above a 30. They're in the high 30s, edging 40. 40 is you're in the NBA. And then I told CJ this cool fact while we were riding our bikes today, but there have been 6 people that have done a max vertical jump of 44 inches in the NBA. Michael Jordan was one of them. But up-and-coming swimmer Caleb Dressel, he's jumped
Really?
to 44 before.
No kidding.
Yeah. Insane. That's some power.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, there's power. Next, number 6, we have speed. So speed is that time minimization. How fast can you get something done?
Those definitely go hand in hand. The sprinting.
Yeah. So speed, I had the 100-meter sprint.
Mhm.
I think that's the test of speed.
Mm-hmm.
Usain Bolt is the fastest man alive because he runs that 100-meter, and I don't really know how fast, but
Fast.
freaking fast.
For speed, I think you think of like how fast you can move, but also the acceleration. So
Yeah.
like when you first said speed, I instantly thought of boxing, like hand speed.
Oh,
It's huge.
that's true.
Like how fast you can go from being in a stationary position to the
To a-
end goal. You know,
Yeah.
To a
how fast
punch.
I can go from right here to
Yep.
Matt's face.
And how much power can you create
Right.
in that time? Yep.
Yeah.
Include power in there too, I guess.
Throw it all in. So next, speed was a pretty easy one to cover.
Mhm.
Next, I have agility. So that's that ability to change direction, start, stop, get going to the point you need to be able to make those turns if you're running. That's what I think of as agility most of the time.
Yep.
It's that minimizing your transition, really. This one was it wasn't super tough to come up with once I actually sat down and thought about it and been like, Austin, just think of something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not something I've ever seen us do in the CrossFit gym before, but it's that 5-10-5 test. If you guys have ever seen that, always
Yep.
done at the NFL Combine. So
Yep.
you have 3 cones set up,
Yep.
5 yards apart. You start at the middle, run to one, you change direction, run the 10 yards to the other one, then run through the middle.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect way to test agility. You're turning 180 twice and starting and stopping.
Mm-hmm. I thought instantly of speed ladders.
Oh,
There's so much you
that's
can
a
do.
good one.
Yeah. I made a fool of myself in college with those stupid speed ladders.
That's something we should get one in here.
I don't
We
know.
used to have one.
That would be good.
Not sure
I think
what's that.
agility also requires a lot more of the other components in it, just as a whole.
Yeah,
You're going to need balance for sure, we haven't talked
Mhm.
about, but
yeah,
the coordination, speed.
Accuracy,
yeah.
right?
I was not accurate in my speed ladder, and I did very many wrong things, yes.
Coordination.
Apparently your
into
face
it.
is not supposed to land on all the squares.
Not what
Good
it
try,
was
No one
to
told
do.
me that.
Good try, son. Now get back up.
Back of the line.
Blow the whistle. Get back.
There's our agility. Next, had coordination. Coordination is a tougher one to like test, but it's described as the ability to combine several like different movement patterns into one fluid movement. So combining different things. It's a hard one to test for, but this is when I think of the CrossFit saying, what is it? It's like get out, learn, and play new sports. I think a great way to test your coordination is how fast can you pick up a new sport.
Sure.
Like if we went out on the lake, how fast are you going to pick up water skiing?
Mhm.
I think that's a great way to test coordination.
Yep,
Mhm.
agree.
It's not like foolproof, but
Right.
Something simple as bouncing a basketball
Yeah.
while running.
yeah,
That's another
Requires
test
a
of
lot of
coordination,
coordination.
right? Hand-eye coordination. Yep.
Yeah. So, I thought of it as just like your gross motor skills, basically. So, like, just like the everyday human, just if someone says they're not coordinated, they're probably like, you know.
you know what we're talking
You know,
about. If you say
exactly.
somebody's
Exactly.
coordinated.
Yeah.
A big thing I thought of though was double unders.
Yeah. I was
That's
gonna
for
say
CrossFit.
the
because-
jump rope.
That,
Yeah.
Jump rope was what I was going to use. Yeah.
there's not much to it besides can you time that right?
Exactly.
Yep. Something simple as a box jump, a 12-inch or a 24 or 20-inch box jump, right?
Yeah.
That coordination, the ability to stand, jump, land without leaning to the right or to the left or
Yeah.
falling forward.
I mean, rope climbs too.
Mhm.
You gotta, you
Lot of
better, you
things
better
that
not
we
miss that
don't-
rope.
That's right.
Or you're hanging out for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or falling for a second.
Or
Yeah.
falling for a very short time. All right, on to the next, balance. That's the ability for you to control the placement of your body's center of gravity
Mhm.
based on what support base you're on. So 1, 2 feet.
Yep.
I think the best way to test balance is we go in the back and you walk down a balance beam, spin 360 and walk backwards.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
obviously there's CrossFit movements we can do, but if you want to isolate and test your balance, it's called a
Yeah.
balance beam for a reason, I guess.
Exactly.
That is true. That is true.
I think one of the other things that's pretty simple to teach or find out where your balance is if you just literally just stand forward, jump up and try to rotate in a 360 to the left, and then do that to the right. And you're going to find out really, really quick from a balance perspective where you're at.
Yeah.
Like we do that with our gymnastics kids all the time because they got to be able to rotate right and they got to be able to rotate left. But most of us, if you just stood, jumped as high as you could and spun in a circle in a 360 to the right, you might be able to do that and land facing forward.
Yeah.
Now let's do the left, right? True sense of where am I at with my balance? Can
Yeah.
I balance both movements equally, or am I way off on one? My guess is you're going to be way off on the one you're not trained on,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
So-
Which is most of the time to the left.
Which that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
I think that'd be mine if I tried to spin left.
Be toast.
I'm in trouble.
The big thing I thought of, just right offhand, was a pistol squat.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're on one foot trying to squat. A lot of people can't do that though, but I think you can definitely incorporate, or you need balance for all your major lifts, right?
Yeah.
You can't be off balance on the snatch.
That's right.
On the clean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think double
The-
unders, I guess.
The amount of times somebody comes over and they're like, Austin, put a little bit more weight in your heels.
Yeah.
Off balance all
Exactly.
the time.
Yeah, that's right.
The reason you keep falling over the barbell is all your weight's in your toes. So.
Yeah. All right, balance was another one of those easier-ish ones. Last one of our 10, accuracy. The ability to control your body, be able to do something in a given direction at a given intensity.
Mhm.
Is how CrossFit defines
Mhm.
accuracy.
Mhm.
When you think accuracy right away, it's almost tied in with precision.
Yep.
But when I think of accuracy in a CrossFit setting, I think wall ball right away.
Okay.
That's that accuracy consistently, no matter how intense it is, to be able to hit that wall ball
Mhm.
at that desired target. Obviously, there's some power and flexibility tied into that, but getting that wall ball consistently to your 10 or 9 foot target.
Right.
I instantly thought of not CrossFit, but just shooting a bow.
That I in my thing I have cop out answers, bow and arrow.
Cop out.
That's how I have it. Like
Yep.
that. It is. That's there's
Yeah.
nothing to it besides accuracy.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like we said, this is one of the practice things.
Mhm.
So it's just repeated over time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. Here's one that we'll see what you guys think here as I walk and talk you guys through this from an accuracy perspective. But we taught this all Sunday. Dee and I put on a gymnastics clinic for the group at CrossFit Piqua. So accuracy, read the definition by CrossFit again.
By CrossFit,
Mhm.
accuracy is defined as the ability to control movement in a given direction or at a given intensity.
Right. So we think about accuracy. We talk of this with gymnastics with our kids on the other side of the wall, right? My accuracy is the ability to be able to control my body through time and space. Okay? Whether I'm bouncing in the air, doing a flip, doing a full, doing a double. It's the same difference if I put somebody up on the pull-up rig. My ability to control my body through a range of motion, arch to hollow, and the accurately move through those two range of motions and not all over the place where I'm starting to swing. Right? So for me, from a real simple perspective, from a gymnastics group, is I've got to accurately control my body through a nice hollow to an arch position and back accurately in order to create enough momentum to do a pull-up.
Yeah.
And then I've got to tie that together accurately to be able to get my chin over the bar and come back down. So from my perspective, anything we do from a gymnastics perspective is accuracy because I'm controlling my body through time and space.
I think that's a very good point. I
I
think
like
all the
that.
gymnastics things we do,
That
Yeah.
body awareness.
all gymnastics is neurological.
It's and it's all accuracy of and precision of how, when, and where I move my body.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I like that. So, we mentioned it earlier, those first 4, that was all 10 of those. Those first 4, we said you can improve by training. So that's hitting the gym, putting in
Yep.
that hard work.
Yep.
The stuff that we like to hit those metcons, that's strength, stamina, endurance, flexibility. You'll physically see those changes.
Yep.
And then if you set this up like a Venn diagram, that's on one side. The other side, improve by practice. That's your coordination, agility, balance, and accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
So practice, you refer to that as the changes that are going to occur in your nervous system. Like you're not physically, like you'll see it at the outside of your body. Like if you watch a video of yourself, you'll look more coordinated. But that's a change that's happening in your nervous system. Not
You
like
won't. You can't test it.
It's not a physical attribute,
Right.
attribute really.
You don't look better after getting
Yeah.
those skills.
Right.
Because your
That's
balance
right.
is better, you don't look better.
Right.
Right.
Then Venn diagram, you think that middle point, power and speed are those middle. So those both get improved from training and practice.
Yep. You have to
Makes
combine
sense.
those. You got
Yeah.
those 4 entities on both sides,
Mhm.
right?
They both
and you lock those
combine.
together, and that's where you get your
Yeah.
power and speed.
Which is why in here we break down all those movements so much, right?
That's right.
When we snatch, we break down the snatch. When we,
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So we're hammering both that practice side, and then you do them in the actual workout, and that's the training side as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
we went through all those 10. Cool little thing that I thought we should do.
Mhm.
I think we should each name off one movement, one workout that tests the majority or encompass all 10 of those attributes.
I like it.
For one movement,
Put me on the spot.
All right.
for one movement,
Podcast sober.
one movement, it's a little bit tough because
Yeah.
cardiovascular.
All right, I'll go
You're not going to
first.
get that in one movement.
Sure.
If you steal my answer.
Let me read Austin's notes.
I left it in there.
I have it.
My one movement right away is snatch.
Yeah.
That's that encompasses everything, especially those neurological points.
Yep.
You have to be accurate. If you're in front by an inch and a half, you're dropping that barbell forward.
Exactly.
You have to have balance. You have to be coordinated.
Yep.
We all know when we started, we didn't look coordinated doing squat snatch.
Still probably don't.
Still probably don't.
Yep.
You have to be agile. Speed is, you have to fall under the bar. huge power production, strength, flexibility for sure, stamina if you do more than one or two.
Yep.
You have to have the muscular endurance, and then cardiovascular. It's just tough to tie that into one movement. But
Yeah. I was gonna go with, if you think, and again I'm gonna lean towards gymnastics because that's what I've known for 3/4 of my life and I know it well. That one movement to me is a muscle up, right? If you take a look at each one of those perspectives, right? Cardiovascular, if I do more than one, I'm gonna start to breathe heavy, right? Stamina from a muscle perspective, doing multiple things. I'm pulling, and then what am I doing at the top? I'm pushing, pressing each one of those multiple times if I'm linking multiple muscle ups, right? Flexibility, range of motion. If I don't have the range of motion in my shoulders, not going to happen, right? If I can't catch it in that nice, press out of a dip, just not going to be there.
Yeah.
If I don't have the power and force to get myself up and over, which requires accuracy, balance, and coordination to get there.
yeah.
So it's all
I
wiped
like
out. So one single movement from a gymnastics perspective, a muscle up.
I was on the rope climb about the muscle up thing for a little while, whether or not that
Yeah.
we did a workout like a week or two ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I was doing all right, and then there was like 25 muscle ups thrown in there, and I hit a freaking wall.
I hate hitting
I was-
gymnastic wall.
It was disastrous, but I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say snatch. I didn't notice that he already had it written down. But I think so. Squat, clean, and jerk.
Yeah.
Um,
Those Olympic.
I kind of want to throw rope climb in there. I don't know. That's a questionable one for sure. But cardiovascular, again, you put a couple of them in there. Stamina, for sure. Flexibility is the one thing that I don't know if it hits.
I think it does. If you think
To a
about
point,
that
if
squat.
you're, like-
I mean, if you have to,
if you're
you pick
pulling your
feet
knees
up,
up,
right.
then
Yeah.
you're coming out of like a full squat
Yep.
in a rope climb.
Power, I think it hits that for sure. Speed, do a couple of them for time.
Yeah.
Agility, though,
I think you're
yes,
Maybe,
because
but-
when you go down and you have to shoot
Yeah,
back up,
changing.
so you're still
Mhm.
changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still, it's just a little questionable thing. I just saw the rope right there, so I was like, oh, maybe that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Coordination, yes. Balance, you better stay stable when you're on the rope.
Mhm.
And accuracy, you better not miss the rope.
Yeah. I like it.
I thought that was cool.
Mhm.
And then this one, it'll be cool to see what everybody comes up with. That one workout. My one workout right away that I thought of instantly was Nancy. So for you people that don't know Nancy, that's 5 rounds, 400-meter run, 15 overhead squats at 95, 65 respectively. I think that covers just about everything. Obviously, there's probably better workouts, but that was the first thing that came up. Agility might not be tested so much because you're not starting and stopping, trying to make those quick turns or anything. But cardiovascular, you're running a 1.25 miles. Stamina, that's a lot of muscular endurance in a snatch. Strength, 95 pounds isn't super light for an overhead squat for us normal folks. But they throw it into the games, they have
Right.
to double it. So.
Sure.
But, and then all those neurological ones, power. I think that was my go-to right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then my second one, my backup one, which I think based off of if somebody walked up to me and told me their Amanda time, Amanda is 975 of squat snatches at 135.95 and muscle ups. I think that's a good way. That's tying in both of our movements.
Exactly.
I think that's, if somebody told me their time, I could tell how fit they were.
I
based
would
on
agree
that.
with that. Yep. Yeah, because it ties in everything that you just spoke
Mhm.
to, right? I don't know if you wanted to go next, or I've got one. So I'm going to revert back to the real.
I'm trying to find this one workout, but I forget.
I think I can help you. I think I know which one you're going
If you pull
towards.
that up on this.
No, I'm not. So mine doesn't incorporate the run. It's more. It's a couplet, more like Amanda, with 2 movement structures in it, and it's back to the very roots of what we do. It's called Fran, right? 21-15-9 of thrusters and pull-ups, right? So I've got to have the flexibility in my thruster to be able to get in that nice deep squat continuously over and over and over. If I don't have that in my ankles, forget it.
Yeah.
It's game over. Stamina,
You
You're going to get to the point where you can't move that
you know,
bar.
stamina for that grip when you
That's
start
right.
to lose it.
Exactly. Yep. So all of that.
Yeah, I like that
Flexibility, power, speed, agility on the bar. Again, we go back to coordination and balance. Can I continue to do those butterfly pull-ups really pretty and without fault? You
Yeah.
know, or do I miss my minute and 50 Fran time or minute and 49 Fran time because I fly off the bar, right? God love that guy, man. I feel for you. But again, those two movements in that couplet puts all those together,
Yeah.
right? Yep.
Shoot.
You find it?
We had no, but I think we did. I think we programmed these in our competition.
Ooh, I like it.
So we had the the finals workout where you had the bike,
Yep.
the worm thrusters,
Yep.
and then a
Handstand
handstand.
walk.
Yeah.
So I think that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
But then also our long chipper that we had, the wall balls,
Yep.
And everything.
Yep.
yeah, wall balls, pistols, GHD, burpees over a box,
Mm-hmm.
Dumbbell overhead squats.
Dumbbell overhead squats.
Pistols.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I would agree
Bar
with that.
muscle ups.
We freaking
Sandbag
killed
all
cleans.
there.
bar muscle ups.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then when
Same
you think
way.
about it too, we come in here every day, and if you look at every single workout, you're probably using almost all 10 of these.
Yep.
Yeah, we weren't even thinking of that. We were
Yeah.
just thinking to make a workout
It
that's
just,
doable, that still
Mhm.
sucks.
Yeah.
it's what
And it hits all
CrossFit
these.
is.
Yeah.
It's
That's
all
right.
10 of these.
Yeah. Even if you look at our class workout for today, which was intentionally dialed back because we had a hard workout yesterday. We tested. We're going to test again tomorrow, but we dialed back today's into a complete nasal breathing workout, right?
Yeah.
But it incorporated running, biking, or rowing. Got to be coordinated. You got to have some
Yeah.
stamina, right? And it's going to hit your cardiovascular. It incorporated wall climbs. So you got to have coordination, strength, all of those items.
So there's a
there,
lot
right?
of things that go into the wall climb.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Think
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Dumbbell slides.
Yeah.
Got to have balance, coordination, and strength to be able to do all of that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Thought that was fun for a little one workout.
Mhm.
And then, obviously, CrossFit is the sport of fitness. You guys have to think of one other sport that encompasses all 10 of these, or as close as you can get to all 10.
Mhm.
What sport would you say? Obviously, we consider ourselves, CrossFit's the ultimate test of fitness.
Agree.
We create the fittest athletes,
Mhm.
which I want to talk about that in another
Mhm.
couple minutes. But my sport that I lean to right away, UFC.
Mhm.
I think that covers it all.
Mhm.
They're down on the floor. They have to be flexible and have the power.
Yep.
They could go for 5 rounds of what is it, 5x5? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Either
Yeah.
way, I think
Mhm.
UFC. And when you look at a lot of UFC athletes, when they're not in season training, like just for their fight, their off season training, they're doing what resembles CrossFit.
Mhm.
They might not call it that. That's what it resembles. In the Fight Gone Bad workout of
Right.
the 3 rounds, like a 6-minute EMOM or something. Can't remember exactly. I'm blanking on the spot, but that's what I think of right away. I think of UFC as that one sport.
Mhm. I'll go next.
Okay.
I'm going to fall back to my roots, gymnastics. From a gymnastics, male or
Yeah.
female athlete, right? A female athlete, you've got 5 different tests. You're testing each one of those. Yeah, you're not lifting a barbell, you're not moving, but you're moving your body. Very similar to your
Mhm.
UFC, right?
Yeah.
You've got, uneven bars, you've got the giant swing, you've got the beam, which is going to require a whole ton of accuracy and precision, right? You've got vault. Now I'm carrying across a 83-foot run,
Mhm.
right, as fast and as hard as I can. And I'm going to stop, turn that body into a springboard and go backwards
Yeah.
and hit a platform and then try to flip 2, 3, and 4 times and land back, right? All that happens within 10 seconds, right? 83 feet vault, and then finally the floor routine, which I'm typically out there for 3 minutes. For me, that's where that encompasses that single sport that is truly a test what we test here, I would think.
Yeah, that's good. So I instantly thought, well, I just went back to football because I was like,
Yeah.
oh. But I think above that is rugby.
Yes.
Rugby,
So that was
yeah.
another one
Yes.
on my list
Yeah.
along with hockey.
hockey.
Hockey, rugby. I think those ones
Yep.
cover about everything
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So you're running, you're jogging, you're destroying people,
Mm-hmm.
you're kicking,
Mm-hmm.
you have to throw.
It's
It just
it
and
covers-
game, and it's the games are like 80 minutes long or something.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so-
Yeah.
I think your choices of hockey. I think you could throw field hockey in there just as quickly as you could
Yeah.
hockey, right? Because you're encompassing the exact same hand eye coordination, all of that.
Yeah.
That's good.
So after that sport thing, that leads me into this next thing that I want to talk about. But that's so if you ask somebody outside of CrossFit, you ask an average Joe on the street, you say, what sports athletes are the fittest, like who can achieve the greatest things with their fitness? Obviously, most people aren't going to think CrossFit right away. They're going to lean to those power lifters that they see on TV that are lifting a ton of weight, or marathon runners, or probably those top two-ish answers, besides if they're going to say like football or something.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at it, power lifters and marathon runners, in our definition of fitness, aren't really fit at all.
Agree.
They obviously they're specialists, and that's what they're getting paid to do.
Mhm.
Obviously, that's what they like. You don't want a marathon runner that can back squat 500 pounds. He's not winning a marathon. That's what he's getting paid to do. But when you look at the definition of fitness defined by this, they're really not fit at all. And there was one stat that I found that was actually super cool to relay this thing of marathon runners not being like the fittest people. I'm going to try to get the numbers right. But in the Olympics, the average marathon runner male can't bench a 95-pound barbell. And this one really got me. They can't jump on top of an 18-inch box. So they're lacking power and strength right there.
Yeah.
I
That's
saw
interesting.
somewhere too, like when I was looking stuff up for this, that it's not uncommon for like an elite marathon runner to have like a 3-inch vertical.
They don't train it. They're just training that cardiovascular aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Which
And plus, when you're just running all the time, you lose out on the flexibility.
Yeah.
Like so much more than just your strength.
It's
Or,
crazy.
It's interesting.
but they can run a lot farther.
They can
Yeah.
outrun me.
But that's what specializing does, right?
Yeah.
So we train to not specialize.
Yeah.
That Matt
Yeah.
Frazier quote.
It was
he did it
in 2018.
I was
It was
watching
the first Madison Games. Was that
2018.
I think
So
so.
they started with like
Yeah.
80 pull-ups, 60 GHDs, some
you had
pistols.
a bunch of sled or like I don't know yoke carries, some pulls and stuff, or something big
Everything was
sleds.
different workouts.
Yeah.
But
Well, this one just had whatever. It was like
Yeah.
a big hopper of things and they had to do it. And Matt Frazier, he was like, they asked him, they're like, so what workouts were those were in your wheelhouse? And he's just like, none of them. None of them were in my wheelhouse. And they're like, well, you did pretty good in the workout. And he's like, I worked very hard to not have a
Yeah,
wheelhouse.
I train every day to not have
Have
Yeah.
a wheelhouse. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Which makes complete sense. But that specializing is just, it's so good if you're elite at it, or even if you enjoy doing it,
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and specialize. But if you're trying to be as fit as possible, like you can use these in anywhere in life, right? Like I don't know, your kid runs out in front of a car in the street, you have to go
Yeah.
chase them. You better be able to go run.
Mhm.
Like you need to pick something up, or I don't know, you know.
Yeah, that's our
Do
GPP.
literally anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any of the GPP stuff. If you're a firefighter, you have to lift a burning log off someone. You need to have these skills. If you don't have these skills, you have a big gap in your life.
Yeah, I think it's simple as going out and cutting wood. If you had to go out and
Yeah.
provide firewood for your family, right? Somebody that's a marathon runner, they're going to maybe pick up 2 or 3 logs, right? But
Yeah.
you need logs and firewood for an entire winter, 6 months, not a day,
Yeah.
right? And so they're going to have a hard time gathering enough firewood to produce enough heat for 6 months.
Right. And that gets, I think what's really hard about this, or getting people to understand this, is that it doesn't happen often in today's society in America.
It doesn't.
You don't
We're
need that
fortunate.
stuff very
Yeah.
often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're living comfortably. That destroys
That's
you.
right.
But that one time that does happen,
Mhm.
that could change your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
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 You're trying to be prepared for
The uncomfortable.
the
Yep.
uncomfortable, but just circumstances that
Yeah.
anything, you know.
Everyone, we kind of laugh about this, but everyone hates burpees. Like every time, oh, you got to do, oh, I hate burpees. It's literally the most or the best life-saving thing that I could provide for you in here.
Yeah.
Get you in condition enough to get knocked down and back up quickly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether you fall over and a car's coming, you got to get out of the way, right? Or you got to chase after your kid because you run out in front of a car, or somebody literally knocked you down in a fight, and you've got one option: either run as fast, get up and run as fast as you can, or lay there and take it. I think if I could teach you to get off the ground quickly and run, you're going to do that. You know what I mean? Or have the strength and power to do that.
Yeah. And that's what, it just drives me nuts, but it's a good thing, but that those situations don't happen often.
Right.
Like, I obviously don't want people to get pushed down and beat up on the
Yeah.
street, but like, it's, the human body needs to move,
Hmm.
and we need to be prepared for anything. Like,
That's right.
that sounds very, like, apocalyptic, but like,
But it's
for
true.
real.
Yeah.
It just, I mean,
Yeah.
this stuff happens. If you're not prepared for it, you're gonna pay the price.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to pay for pay for it in the long run, because when you get to be 60, 70, 80, right, your ability to move freely is snatched from you.
Yeah.
Now you're reliant on someone or something, a walker, a home care assistant, right? So your lack of performing today, the ability for you to say, hey, I'm going to be comfortable sitting on my couch because I don't have to run for my life. I don't have to fight for my food. I don't have to go cut firewood for heat, right? I'm just going to live comfortably. That's going to smack you in the face when you're 80. And now you're reliant on someone or something else to do simple tasks, like go to the bathroom. Because you don't have the muscle structure, the balance, the agility, and everything else we just talked about
Yeah.
in order to get yourself up to go to the bathroom. That's when
a
it.
great point.
That's
I
when
was
it hits
just
you.
thinking of like a tragic situation.
Uh-uh.
But that
Maybe
you related that
off the
to
toilet.
real life though.
That is tragic.
It is, yes.
Yeah, that's
I've heard
right.
the immediate thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But you related it to just
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot better.
Yeah, it goes back to your very first comment right at the very beginning. We talk about work capacity across broad time and modal domains. Broad time is everything we're living for.
Yeah. Your entire lifetime's included in that.
That's right. And modal domains is be able to, I'm snatching today. I want to be able to stand up when I'm 108 and go to the bathroom on my own. That's the modal domains.
Yeah.
It goes from, right, increasing strength to maintaining agility to move. There's going to be a point in time where we're all going to get to the point where, hey, I can no longer snatch 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
It's going to go away.
still hasn't changed, so,
Yeah, well,
I mean,
yeah, I'll never be able to do that. Let's clarify that. But seriously, you're going to get to the point where I can't snatch what I used to when I was 40 and 50 and 30 or whatever that was, right?
Yeah.
But I can still maintain the ability to take a PVC pipe and freely move it overhead at will.
Yeah.
That's that broad time modal domain aspect, right?
That's what we do in here every day.
Yep.
We're preparing for the real world.
That's right.
Just getting fitter in this sense.
Yep. I like it.
Yeah. Under that fitness, we didn't say that I don't think earlier, but you're as fit as you are capable in all 10 of these
Oh, I like
categories.
that. Yeah.
So like, your fitness will be drugged down by your weakest link,
Mm-hmm.
and it's unavoidable eventually. So for a
Yeah.
while, you can avoid your coordination because you can't do butterfly pull-ups or you can't do double unders.
Yeah.
But then that's what's dragging your overall fitness down.
I
But
like that.
Yeah, you can like
you can back
you can deadlift or back squat a lot.
Yeah.
Mainly so deadlift or bench press or anything a lot, but you can't bend down like we said earlier, bend down to tie your shoes.
that drags your fitness down.
Yeah.
Drags your fitness down, that's also gonna come back at you so hard later in life.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
all of a sudden now you can't walk, you shuffle instead of walking because you limit that mobility, and then
Yep.
from shuffling, what do you do after shuffling?
Mhm.
You're in
Yeah.
a wheelchair, and then what do you need? You need someone to take care of you, and then
Yeah.
just a downward spiral.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When that's how our grandparents, right, when they started to age and they started to shuffle, it's when it became difficult for them to go out in the winter because that shuffling created ice slips. That's right. And then once I slip, I break a hip. And it's just profound, right? It just keeps going and going and going.
Then I just had one other thing down here. I don't know if you guys saw it on that last page. But if you had to pick like one, this is how we define fitness in this gym. But if you go to the doctor and you get all those different numbers back. You get your blood work done.
Mm-hmm.
You get all that good stuff, and your doctor tells you something. Of all those numbers, if you had to pick one of those singular health metric units, so one of those numbers came back, you had to choose that to define your fitness. What number is that going to be, or what? You get what I'm saying?
One single health
What is
metric.
that? Yeah, that one metric unit that you're choosing. I like blood pressure.
I think so.
That was one of mine.
Anything else I think is going to be like,
Yeah.
I mean, triglycerides, cholesterol,
Mm-hmm.
blood sugar.
Mm-hmm.
That's all going to be
You
diet.
can't hide
You
from
can't-
it.
Right. Blood pressure is literally known as a silent killer for a reason,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Training, doing stuff, being active
Yep.
is a great way to lower that blood pressure.
Mine was resting heart rate.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to have a super low resting heart rate from being fit and have a high cholesterol.
Yeah.
Like if your resting heart rate's in that 30s, you're a fit person. You probably don't have any other thing wrong in your like blood system, cardiovascular, lungs wise. Than like
That's a
40.
good point. There's
I-
like,
Yeah.
I like that, but blood pressure's right there with it.
yeah,
I
but I
agree.
mean, like, all fit athletes have a very low.
Yeah.
resting-
50s, right?
Patrick Vellner,
Yeah, you're.
when he was his fittest, he was at 37.
Yep. I heard Ben Bergeron one time. Not even an advanced athlete. He coached Katrin. His lowest when he was like into running and stuff, and like
He
started
was like an elite.
yeah, he was an elite triathlete, but his was down to 31. So like 30 is like you're an insane elite athlete. 40s is like your higher end average Joes here. 50s super healthy. 60s average in America these days. Once you start to get above that, that's when you'll see the problems. Like you're into 70, 80. That's when you're going to see those other problems start to rise with that. If you're into 90s, it's time to do something.
Yep. I was just going to look at where my heart rate has been. That's something I look at quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, typically when I go get my blood pressure, I've always got normally low blood pressure, but my heart rate's always in the upper 50s and that 60, let's say 59 to 68, if I'm just relaxed and not doing anything
Yeah.
at all, right? So I was just trying to see where it was at right now. But yeah,
so
I was going to go with resting heart rate. Where's that at?
My average, if I like sit on the couch when I get home after CrossFit, I'll sit at like 53-ish.
Mhm.
And then when I go to bed, I'll get down to like 45 or 46.
Yep.
But that's my one singular health metric. Fitness unit. I thought that was something cool to throw in.
Yeah, I like it.
I like how you blindsided us.
Yeah, I blindsided you with a couple questions.
Oh, I
Just
read
threw it in there.
ahead. I read ahead.
I did too, but I didn't know
I
they
cheated.
meant.
All right, you guys have anything else to throw in there?
I don't. I think this is really good. We're going to obviously get back on track with weekly things. There's a lot of things that I know you and I want to cover in Austin. We'd love to have you join us and cover those. We've got to do another podcast with Dr. Libby. I want to try to, CJ, if we can, do a quick review of the last, I'm into 9 months now with her from where we started. And it's been a really interesting 9 months from finding out what my body's really been doing and why it's been doing what it's been doing, and everything from the way you feel to how you get through the day, the way your food metabolizes, and the way your body uses that as energy, and it's been really cool. So I hope to get Libby.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Mhm. Yep. Also wanted to get Mike Wolf. We talked about Mike. He's our power lifter here, right? He's got a huge event coming up in December, which there's power lifters coming from all over the United States now. Some of the strongest men and women in the world will be here. There could be some records set, 800-900 pound bench presses. So that'll be fun. So we should get him in and interview him.
We gotta get our boy Mo Dingo back.
Yep, we got to get Mo on. That's right. And we got to talk about our winter. We've got our winter classic coming up in January 9th. So there's a ton of cool stuff coming up. Yeah, this has been good.
Sweet.
So, attack those 10 components.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to do what you're good at. Looks good to others and you feel good doing it, but you really have to focus on the things you struggle at. Because like Austin said, you're only as fit as your weakest link.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, let's. I've got one last thing, one question for each of you guys.
We're getting blindsided.
Yeah,
Why is this
we'll go.
podcast me getting blindsided?
Yeah, a little blindsided, but it's good blindside. And I'll give one for myself, but I've had the opportunity to think about it. If there's one thing that you could tell our listening audience or your friends or family, could be fitness related, it could be just personal, kind of where you're at, thought processes. What's one thing you would leave? Yeah, one sentence, just one thing that you would leave with our listening audience about anything you'd want to talk about. Positive, negative, change this, do that, come to CrossFit. I'll start. Yeah, I'll start. Give you guys an idea. So again, just as we leave here, one thing that I could tell our listening audience is you never know what's on the other side of that conversation. So anytime you jump into a conversation with an individual, you ask, "Hey, how you doing?" You really never know what's on the other end of that conversation. So if you ask those questions about, "Hey, how you doing today?" mean it, and be ready for the response. Yeah, there's mine.
You got one to do, or me to go?
I could go.
Put him on the spot.
This
That's my
kind
fault.
of. This kind of. So it kind of fits in, but I was just sitting on the porch this morning with my mom. I worked late last night, so I didn't have to work till later today.
Mhm.
We just sit and drink coffee,
Yeah.
and my mind just goes off. But I just thought my feet got a little cold, and I was like, what if I was standing around a campfire? This is gonna get whack. What if I was sitting around a campfire, and you never want to be that first person to go inside, right?
Mhm.
Or the first person to complain about something or have to give up or
Mm-hmm.
not be able to go on this awesome hike because you're not in shape enough. Or,
Yep.
So I was like, if you're the average of all the people you surround yourself with, like, you don't have to be more fit or tougher than the people you don't hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
They don't matter to you. Why would their situation matter to you?
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important to pick good people
Yeah, that's a good
to
point.
be around. And then to keep working on these components of fitness, right?
Mhm.
So you don't have to be the strongest person you're with. Don't be the weakest person you're with, and pick a strong group of friends. If you stay there and then you stay better than your weakest friend,
They're naturally going to bring you up.
they're naturally going to bring you up. Your friends will, but you're never going to be that person that can't go do something because of this. That wants to go inside earlier. Can't go on the side because of all your. If you have a weaker friend, he's going to get up first.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be tougher than that, dude.
So it's so important, just in all aspects of life, like mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. You just got to get yourself right. You don't have to be the best. You don't have to go, you don't have to be better than nature, right? If you're sitting outside and it's cold, you don't have to beat the cold. You just have to beat your friend.
I like it.
So that was just a weird thought that popped in my head where I'm like,
Nice job.
you don't have to be follow my back down.
Well, mine wasn't as deep as that. Mine ties into this components of fitness. So
Yeah.
whether you're listening to this and you go to this gym, or you're one of our millions of viewers that don't go and do CrossFit,
That's right.
hardest part is walking in the door.
That's it.
That is it. You walk into the door, it gets easier from there.
Yeah.
The workout might suck, but that's the hardest part.
That's right.
And then when you come in, we're working on these 10 components of fitness. You have that extra time to do the accessory work. Work on your weaknesses. We all leave our egos at the door.
Yep.
We don't care. Do that work.
Yep.
Put that work in.
That's a perfect point.
And that work is different for everyone.
Yes, it's different.
Exactly.
My weaknesses aren't the same as CJ's, which aren't the same as
That's because
Matt's.
I don't have any, but
Yeah. Let's
Just
ask
kidding.
Dee.
We're built different.
Right on. All right, guys. Well, this is really good. Cool.
All right.
Well, let's wrap it up.
Deuces.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out. We'll check everyone in our listening and viewing audience later. Oh, wait. Thanks, Dave.
Oh, Dave.
Unofficial
Thanks, Dave.
sponsor, O2 Recovery.
appreciate you, sir.
All right, guys. Thanks. That was awesome.
What was that total time? That had to be just right at an hour.
Right at an hour.
That's what I thought.